Well, joining me now is Daniel Levy, president of the US Middle East Project and a former Israeli peace negotiator. Thank you so much for being with us. So the United States has again vetoed a UN draft resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The US instead proposing its own resolution calling for a temporary ceasefire for the first time. How significant is this shift in language and perhaps intent?
Fear the answer to that is not significant enough, because what we saw in New York is the Biden administration again wielding its veto, and in so doing exacerbating the isolation of the US. Told that this was dead on arrival, the US did not manage to carry even one country on the council to join it in voting no, UK and abstaining. So I think America again looks alone in carrying the can for Israel. Secondly, I think that at the very moment that the administration is apparently trying to send a different signal to Israel, that really don't do Rafah, this has to change. The signal that it actually sent in New York was keep doing your worst. And I think that's exactly how it was interpreted in the Israeli government, especially because at the very same time as it's doing that, we have had further reports that the munitions, the weapons that allow this to continue are still flowing from the US to Israel. The Wall Street Journal reported 19 weeks more worth of munitions, of weaponry. That's going to send a very different signal to Israel. And the broader question, the administration, of course, is that domestically, internally, in a presidential re-election year, where this is hurting the president, it sends the signal that we're still going to align with what you just described to us, which is the horrors of what's going on in Gaza. And it's not going to advance this ceasefire deal, the deal that could lead to the release of the hostages and get this over.
And while this played out at the UN, efforts to release all the hostages being held in Gaza, they continue, of course. Where do those negotiations stand right now, with Hamas sending a delegation to Cairo after the Israeli War Cabinet Minister gave that Ramadan deadline to return the hostages or face a Rafah ground offensive?
Right, very important, because if Israel was in a position to issue demands, then we would be in a very different place. But it isn't. It's engaged in negotiations, and it's engaged in negotiations because despite the devastation and destruction that everything has basically been crushed in Gaza, 1.5 million now kettled into Rafah, 30,000 approaching, vast majority civilians, 90% displaced. Despite all of that, on the battlefield, the balance of forces has not shifted so much in favor of Israel that it can make these demands, and it's unlikely to. So there's a real debate inside Israel as to how much priority, and this has been a fight between ministers even in the last 24 hours, how much of a priority to accord to getting the hostages out. Some of the hostage families are furious with Netanyahu that he has not sent his delegation back to the talks. So those negotiations are rather stuck. And what you really see, and this is hugely problematic, Rosemary, is the same US administration tactic being used in New York at the UN Security Council as is being used in The Hague at the International Court of Justice, where America will appear today in favor of Israel. And the message is keep international law out of this question when it involves our ally Israel, whether in The Hague or in New York. And why that's so problematic is if you can't apply international law to Israel, then you can't apply international law to Hamas. And we reap what we sow here. And you create a peace process not based on international law. You create a peace process based on who's the stronger power, might is right. And that's how you end up in a situation that South Africa and 21 other states and 2 regional groupings have described in their submissions to the International Court of Justice as apartheid.
Daniel Levy, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your analysis.